Hello mathematicians, it's Miss Armgart coming back with an instructional video about using substitutions to determine solutions to equations and inequalities. So first, let's go over equation versus inequality. So equations are things like Ken has $7. Now, when we plot this on our number line, $7, we can put the dot at 7 because that is the solution. Ken has $7. Now, an inequality, you'll remember, is greater than, less than. So Ken has at least $7. That means he could have $7, just like the equation. He could have $8. He could have $7.50. He has at least 7. So we're still going to put a dot at 7. And then instead of counting out the number line, because that is a lot of work, we are going to draw an arrow in the direction. So he could have 7, he could have any number above 7, but it's got to be at least. So the minimum number is 7 in this inequality. So for inequalities, there are so many different solutions. It's all numbers above 7 for our example. For equations, there is exactly one right answer. So when you see the equal, you think 1. When you see an inequality, greater than, less than, and then we have 2 new ones here, which is greater than and less than or equal to. That line underneath means or equal to. You know you have many different solutions. So now remember that a variable can be any number. So when we have area equals 30 times W, W could be anything, but when it equals something, when it's an equation here, it equals 120, W is an unknown. We just don't know what it is yet until we solve it. There is one answer in an equation. If there are multiple solutions, then you have an inequality on your hands. All right, so we have 8x equals 30. This is an equation. X is one number. Is x equals 3 a solution? We don't know. So number one, let's write down 8 times x, because remember, when you have the 8 and the x together, that means multiplication, equals 30. Then we are going to substitute with parentheses. So when x equals 3, does x equal 30? And it is not a solution. So 24 does not equal 30. All right, let's repeat the process. So we're still using 8x equals 30, but now is x equals 3.75 a solution? We will rewrite this as 8 times x equals 30, and then we will substitute 3.75 for x, and this becomes 30 equals 30. This is a solution. Yes, it is a solution. 3.75 is the solution to 8x equals 30. All right, so now if we have an inequality where you have lots of different answers, how do you check to make sure it's correct? So the first step is you still have to write down the equation or the inequality. So now we have 8 times x is less than 42. So now we're going to substitute x equals 4. 8 times 4 is less than 42. 8 times 4 is 32, is less than 42. X equals 4 is a solution. But what about x equals 6? Again, we repeat 8 times x less than 42, but now we substitute 6 in for x, and 8 times 6 is 48, is not less than 42. It is not a solution. So I wonder what the smallest variable is to make the inequality true. If you can figure out the smallest value, and that would include decimals, come and tell me, and you will have your prize. All right, so How do I find two solutions? So we're going to start by writing 1/2 times m greater than 14. I'm going to pick 22 because it's bigger than 14 and it's an even number, so I don't have to deal with decimals. I'm going to do my substitution of 1/2 times 22 is greater than 14. And when we divide 22 divided by 2, we get 11 is greater than 14. This is not, so this is false. This is not true. All right, so we know it needs to be bigger than 22. What about 30? Let's just make it really, really big. So if we have 1/2 m is greater than 14, then we substitute m with 30. We still have the greater than 14, and we get 15 is greater than 14. Is that a solution? Yes, this is a solution. This is true that when m equals 30, 15 is greater than 14. Okay, so we know m has to be a number bigger than 30. So what about 50? We're going to do that substitution again. 1/2 m greater than 14. You'll notice I wrote the original each time. That way, when I substitute, I know if I've done it correctly, I can check myself to make sure. And 1/2 of 50 is 25. And 25 is greater than 14. So yes, that is correct. I have found the solutions. And this is the end of the video, folks. Don't forget to fill out your vocabulary words. And I am Miss Armgart saying happy solving.